Hi there, this is just a quick tutorial to show you how to insert a table into a Google Doc and how to color the table in different ways. So here I am in a Google Doc and I'm going to go to insert a table. I'm going to insert and then table, and then it gives me these grids. So I'm going to go ahead and make this particular table a 2 by 5. So this will be a table for my students, and I'm going to have them put their name in there and their reflection here. And I also don't need this much room for their name. I'd rather have a little bit more room for their reflections. So I'm going to go right in between the two lines here until I can get right in the middle. And I'm just going to scoot that line over right to about there. Okay, so I've got my table. This makes it really easy for my students to be able to write their name in and then add their reflection if they'd like to. Now, I like a little bit of color and splash into my table. So on this particular table, I think I'm actually going to make this first row black. So I'm just going to highlight both of the columns there, go up to my little pink can in the right-hand corner and highlight it black. Well, if I have the black background with the black font, it's not going to be able to be seen very well, as you can tell. So I'm going to re-highlight those. I'm going to make my font white. When I do that, it's a nice, it pops, definitely pops, and draws their eyes down. Now, if I am teaching younger students or students who have a hard time being able to follow lines across, I might think about making each of these lines a different color and maybe even inserting their names first. So this will be Jane, oops, and then we'll have, I don't know, Josh, and then we'll have Sarah, and we can do with one more, let's go with Courtney. So for Jane, I'm going to make Jane's row light red. And for Josh, we'll make his row be maybe like a light blue. And we'll go with Sarah, can get a little bit of a green in there. Now you're noticing that I'm choosing the first color of the paint row at the top here. Those aren't going to be too bright, and the students you're still going to be able to see what they write. The farther down you go, the darker they're going to be, and the harder it's going to be, on the eyes, but also just on the font in general. So you're going to want to stick up with this very first row of pales, and that's how you can color that particular table. Now, another table you might choose to create is one maybe for a group to be able to do some work on. So I'm going to insert a table. Again, this is going to be a 2 by, let's go 6. And I'm going to put in who, what, where, when, oops, how, and more. And again, I'm going to just move this table over a little bit. We don't need that much room. I'd rather have the extra room on the reflections there. And for this one, I'm going to highlight the left-hand column and color it, let's go with green. And I can also even, change the font maybe to not necessarily super black, but maybe like a nice gray. And then the students, you can fill in the who, make this pertainable to any reading that they're doing or any activity they're working on. So who is the protagonist in this story, and then the groups or the students can fill in their information over here. But in this case, where I was coloring rows up on this top table, I am coloring a specific column down here on this left table. All right, last idea is to, rather than coloring the rows and the columns themselves, what if we color the lines? So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and insert a table, and we'll just insert maybe a 3 by 3. And instead, like I said, instead of coloring the cells, I'm going to color the rows. So in this case, I'm going to go with maybe a red, a bright red. Let's go with a dark red. And I can also make the thickness of those be a little bit thicker. And then that way they can fill in their information there. Another fun table way to do it is to put a table in another 3 by 3, or maybe a 2 by 2, color the table itself the red. So I think we used this one last. but then the lines are going to be white. And then that's kind of a fun way to do tables as well. So that's inserting tables, but then also being able to color them up and give them a little bit of splash of color as they go.